Your YouTube feed is crap. Stop wasting your time watching bot-boosted shills and self-appointed gurus cloying for your attention. Instead, join the Gosslings interview live stream and podcast. The Gosslings, a dark-lit digital speakeasy of free thinkers. A super chat of radical truth-seeking wizards who eat trolls for second breakfast. Topics that'll make your mama's hair stand on end. Ideas that'll make your pastor's knees knock. Guests that will illuminate the hidden chambers of your mind. And interviews that strike down the darkness. Welcome to the Gosslings. Take up the broken sword of your father
and strike down the darkness.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's good coffee.
It's good.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Goslings. And we are a YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, all of the above interview live stream. Typically we are live streaming. However, this week, due to us being too naughty for prime time.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Said some naughty words.
You know, listen, we went ahead and created the Illumi-Naughty after party for our Patreon members, for our patrons, you know, to be able to, you know, listen to content that was too radical or controversial for YouTube. Wanting to, quote, violate the YouTube algorithm.
And we did. And we
what?
violated them hard.
We made good on our word, and it turns out YouTube will give you a channel strike even for an unlisted video.
Yeah, it was an unlisted kind of exclusive video that no one could see unless they had the link.
Unless you're a patron.
And YouTube still is like, we
Nope.
don't like these guys already, so.
Yeah, they don't. They are already shadow banning
Oh,
us.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, we're shadow banned.
And we're actually working on a solution to that. There is a channel swap that is in the works.
Imminent.
Yeah, that is
Imminent.
pretty imminent. So
Yeah.
So, anyways, you are not getting this at the normal time of Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You are getting this probably on Wednesday or Thursday. That should be whenever the
strike's done. Yeah.
Whenever it lifts.
Don't worry, we're going to make sure we premiere it. That way you guys get notified multiple times before it's available, so you know when it's available.
Yeah. And, of course, if you're listening to this, then you already know that.
But no, you won't know. And you won't know any of that unless you subscribe. So what I'd like for you to do is take up the broken sword of your finger and strike down that subscribe button. Also, smack that bell upside the head. That'd be really great.
Whack it.
We whack the bell.
Yeah. Whack it like a whack your mama. It helps the algorithm. It helps deepen our digital footprint. It keeps you notified of anything that's coming up.
Well, it's supposed to.
It's supposed to.
Even though you might not be notified. If you do all those things, YouTube still might say, screw the Goslings. We're not notifying you. Which we've actually heard some of our subscribers have had that problem. But again, we're working on it. You guys have been great. And but subscribe anyway, because that's your best chance of knowing when we're going to be doing this thing live.
And if you're listening to, or if you're watching this on YouTube, then just know that we're also on Rumble and Spotify as well. So if you want, you know, alternate ways of watching or listening, you can go there as well. So.
Rumble, Spotify, and anywhere you find podcasts, really. In any podcast platform, basically, you can find us, as well as Twitter, as well as Instagram. And we're on Facebook, but not really. You know what I mean?
No one's really on Facebook anymore.
That's for the boomers.
The beast.
Yeah, and love you guys, by the way. Love the boomers. Don't. That's not an insult.
Okay, boomer.
'Cause I'm a Gen X, so I contribute basically nothing, but I still get the right to be mad at the other generation.
That's right. Yeah, you know, there's an interesting article about the Empire Strikes Back being the quintessential Luke is like the archetypal Gen Xer. He doesn't want to join his dad's company.
He whines a lot.
He whines a lot. You know. He gets into some weird romantic incidences, and you know he ends up just joining a bunch of ragtag losers.
Yeah, he runs around with his loser friends.
His loser friends pissing off his dad. You know, and I'm a proto millennial.
Dresses all in black sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, that's like cool. That's like once the Gen Xer has a kid. You know. But like I'm a proto millennial, so I am all of those things. I whine a whole lot more. I just complain constantly. You know, I literally had somebody tell me one time. I said like, "Well, no complaints," and the person said, "Well, you'll find something." That's a true story, by the way. That's not a joke.
Fantastic.
So, anyways,
You know what though? You know what balances all of that out?
what?
The Kothon Spartan mug.
By Jericho Pottery.
You know why? Because it makes you less that and more Spartan.
It does make you more stoic, more laconic, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
As in, well, Laconia, Lacedaemon, the ancient Spartans.
Lacedaemonians.
Lacedaemonians. So the Spartan Kothon mugs, these are made by Jericho Pottery. Joel is the proprietor of Jericho Pottery, and he hand makes and paints all of these Spartan mugs, and he was kind enough to give us a couple of these so that we could promote them.
Yep, unofficial in-kind sponsor.
Unofficial in-kind sponsor. Jericho Pottery. Joel designed these with Stephen Pressfield.
With Uncle Steve himself.
Old Uncle Steve, who is the author of The War of Art, Gates of Fire. He's my favorite author. He has become sort of a friend and a mentor of ours in many ways, really taken us under his wing. We've interviewed him several times, and Steve has an amazing network of people from Jack Carr to General Mattis. I mean, like Oprah, Joe Rogan, Stephen Pressfield is huge. And so we have these in thanks to Joel at Jericho Pottery, finding out about our relationship with Steve. And we're going to be having Steve on quarterly for Fireside Chats with Uncle
Fireside
Steve.
Chats. That's right.
And anytime we are doing a live stream, we will have these Kothon Spartan mugs on. You can buy these if you want from CherichoPottery.com, or you can look up Jericho Pottery on, just Google. You can find them on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Get in touch with them. Go to the website. Look at their stuff. It's worth the money. These things are awesome.
Handcrafted, handmade, hand-painted. Everyone is unique and truly a work of art.
Yeah.
Truly a work of art.
Just like your dog, which seems to have taken a tumble in the
It
next
sounds like my
room.
dog in the next room just
Doing somersaults.
knocked the table over. Chasing a phantom cat in her old age. She's starting to hallucinate.
Dementia. It's the ghost cat.
I wish she would phantom poop on my carpet. That'd be fantastic.
Phantom pee whenever it rains. Instead of real pee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I do want to ask Roxana about what's your relationship with cats, Roxana?
Well, speaking of artists, let's bring her on.
Yeah. So today we have an amazing guest. She is a painter. She has done multiple things from miniatures to just murals, miniatures to murals. She has painted 3 paintings for me for Heavenly Realms, for Empyrean Falling, my Angelic War fantasy novels. And she recently just completed a map of the lower realm of heaven, which is for Empyrean Falling, which you see behind you here. And I had it framed. She did an amazing job, so we're going to talk about that today. And everyone, please welcome Roxana.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hi.
Hey,
I'm so
welcome back.
happy. I am so happy to be with you again.
This is always so much fun, and you look so beautiful today. Like I was just telling you earlier, this is the most I've ever seen you. Like, you look like you just got back from an art show.
Well, today I bathed myself.
You bathed.
You too.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah. I look just like that when I come out of the bath. My hair is nicely done on one side. I got some nice lipstick on.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a Buffalo Bill situation.
The miracles of makeup.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, miracles. Girls have makeup. Guys have beard oil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of like that's our secret weapon is the beard oil and the cologne and a watch. If you have a watch, Roxana, do you find guys more attractive when they have like watches or pinky rings, or like your husband whenever he dresses up?
Well, my husband didn't use the watch, but I think it's something interesting to see a man with a watch, because he is interested in have control of the time.
Right.
And it's a disciplined man.
Yeah, it makes
I think.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the perception. Yeah. I was telling some guys at work one time, if you wear a watch, it does 2 things for you. One, it makes you look important, because just like you say, Roxana, you look like you have to know what time it is at all times, because you might be late for something.
Yep.
The other nice thing about a watch, like a real watch, not like an Apple Watch, because everybody has those and no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but like a watch, if you have one, it's your perfect out of jail free card for any conversation. It's like your ejection conversation.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, that's really cool. Oh,
oh.
man, look at the time. I got to be somewhere in like 10 minutes. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you're gone.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's the ultimate social cue when you just
When
look
you
at your
this,
watch.
Yeah.
And it should be, but we live in an age where people are really poor at reading those little social cues.
Yeah. Well, you know, whatever. Yeah, that's true. There's not much you can do about that sometimes.
No, you can't.
You know,
You can't.
you just do your thing, get in your car and leave.
Yep.
You know. So Roxana, man, I love this map that you have made. We worked on this. We talked several times, and then
Yes.
you worked on this for probably the better part of a month, I think, at least.
Yes.
It was kind of a long project, wasn't it?
Yes. Because when I work in a map, I need a lot of information.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not just the painting, the forms. It's just all the information. And Jonathan do a lot of descriptions of every part of the location. So it was really tough to get all the information, because there are things that I can read in his book, but there are another that he has just in his mind.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that like a lot of locations really only came from maybe one or two books, and then a lot of stuff that's in the map is not in the standard print version, the current version of Empyrean Falling. You know, so like we kind of actually did this. This started out as, and it still will be, an addition to an unabridged edition of Empyrean Falling that I am working on. That it's basically complete. I just have to edit it and then take all the paintings that you've done, Roxana, and incorporate those paintings, including this map, into the Word file, into the text somewhere, you know, so that people can get it. And that's really what inspired this, because I've had other maps done in the past, and they were good. Taurus Necros did one for me for their special edition version, and it was pretty good. It was great, actually, and it didn't cost me anything. And then I did one on Fiverr, which was okay. You know, you kind of got what you paid for in a way. But then I wanted to, and I'd had maps since the beginning, you know, of all these locations and everything, and it does all exist in your head as a writer. But what's funny is that, like, and you know, because you write as well, Roxana. You have at the base, you have your theme, and then when you're telling a story or writing a novel, and then on top of your theme, you have your story. So like your theme, you know, is redemption, you know, or in this case, and it's over in the corner, replace fear with faith. That's sort of the theme of Empyrean Falling. Yep, right there. Replace fear with faith. And so then you have your story on top of that, which is, you know, the war in heaven, you know, the fall of Lucifer and the angels, right? And then on top of that, you have your plot, and that's all the events that take place in all the different places. And everybody thinks it stops there, but as a writer, it doesn't. You have to keep track of all that different stuff. In fact, that other book I sent you, Triptych Codex, was a way for me to keep track of all the plot elements, all the different characters in all the different places, you know? And then, but on top of that, on top of the plot, you have the narrative, which is the elements of the plot that you choose to write about, you know? And then on top of the narrative, you have your prose, which is your writing style. But the narrative is not the same thing as the plot. And what ends up happening is you end up cutting a lot of stuff out, including locations that weren't critical to the story, because you need the pace to move along faster, and you need this. So you end up losing these amazing locations, you know, or they just get briefly mentioned, you know. So we had to, like, there were a lot of conversations on Zoom where Roxana and we would go back and forth, and I would dig up, you know, all of my old notes and old artwork, you know, and then I think you had me find pictures, like on Google, of things that were kind of close to it, you know.
Exactly.
And then you also, this was something I did not expect. You had me dig up, let's see, how would I describe it? topographical pictures. So like if there was an area that was a jungle, like the Southlands in the map is sort of a jungle. So Roxana told me, send me pictures of of what this looked like.
Okay.
So I would like go online, and I think I ended up finding stuff from it was like South America somewhere. Like it was either Puerto Rico or Chile or something like that.
Even Central America, from my country, Costa Rica.
That's what it was.
I took some images from Google to use them to create Southlands.
Yeah. And just about every location was like that. So it was so intensive back of house,
and you wanted to do that so you were trying to capture the palette, right? You're trying to get the palette of colors from that jungle. Is that kind of the thought behind that?
Yes, but I think that was the most difficult thing in creating the map, to choose the right palette, because there are a lot of locations different one of other. So I need to create something that the colors look good, look real, but not so different from another location.
Yeah.
Because it would look so matte when I apply the layers of the filter, the painting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you have, as per like your engineering education, you have an educational history in topography and map making, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you. Like,
you
total
actually
find, Roxana.
So you have a background, like an educational background in map making?
Yeah.
Yes, I am an engineering, so I study a lot of GPS, the movement of the planets, but even the creation of maps. I study different coordinate systems throughout the history. So I wanted to use the correct project system from the map. I use the Holy Land real maps to create this map.
Interesting.
That's right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of real world examples of things that went into the creation of this that were slightly modified or tweaked in order to sort of match the vision of the book and what we wanted to do and what Roxana needed to do from a color or size perspective. We sort of the sad thing about that is that you're so good, Roxana, and you're so good at like the little things that even at this scale and size, you miss things if you're not right up on it, and so we had to kind of pick and choose what elements we were going to have stand out, because it has to be shrunk down to the size of a page for a book. But that's what's so awesome about what you do, is that you provide both the physical format and a digital format, so that people can go online to a website, or they can order a poster or something where it can be much larger and you can see so you don't lose any of your effort.
Yes.
And there was a lot of
I work in such a vast world, it's important that the readers see every location, every track on the history. But when you print the map, everything is smaller, so you lose information.
Yep.
You do.
And I think it's important, you as a writer, to have a website when your readers see all the images, so you can see everything better than in the print version.
Yeah. That way, none of your efforts are being wasted, and everybody is being able to not just see what you've created, but see what the writer has created as well. And sometimes you really only get that in a digital format unless you're, willing to make posters. Which is definitely something I want to get to at some point. It's going to be totally worth it. Roxana, we'll get to some of the others, but what were some of your favorite parts of making the map? What did you enjoy doing the most?
Well, when I burn the corners of the map.
You little
that
pyro.
that was a little dangerous.
Uh-huh.
And when I add I apply a small layers, a very thin layers of um, a golden ink.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was very hard because you have to be do some imperfections in the map to make them look real ancient
Yes.
or old map. And sometimes I like to work doing perfect strokes, and I have to deal with myself
Mhm.
to do something more messy, something different.
This is not. This does not look like canvas. I mean, what did you actually make this map on? It almost looks like leather.
Yeah, like a vellum kind of material.
What is it?
It's paper, but it's a special paper. It was handmade. I needed to buy it from another artist that create different papers from the Asian techniques. And I do treatment of inks to make them look even older, or if I want to work in leather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, it's awesome. It's beautiful. I mean, I have a few questions.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
First of all, and
Improve
I
my
hope-
English.
no, it's okay. I hope it's not this is probably a stupid question to ask, but I'm
No.
going to ask it anyway because those are the
She's
types
done
of questions
several
I like.
Zoom interviews with me. Like,
Okay.
I set the bar pretty low.
So right here
and
Yes.
here,
and this up here,
and a little
all up here, you painted it. It looks like blood splatters on the map, which is really cool. Which is really cool.
I told you he would be jealous,
But-
Roxana.
I also, it looks so real. Like that's how blood stains and smears. Like, this is a stupid question. Is that real? Blood? Did you use blood instead of like red ink?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm not.
Are
so
you sure? Are you sure?
Maybe.
You do come from a family of
but
sorcerers, Roxana.
I use a different technique to apply that painting,
Okay.
because I put the paint in my arm like I was wounded.
Okay.
And I do that movement because it's different from myself, the way the ink fly from
Yeah.
the real arm,
Yeah.
that just on a brush.
That's
Wow.
So I
That's smart.
use part of my body to do
That's
the
awesome.
marks.
That makes so much sense.
I
Because you
had
don't
no
walk
idea.
into a crime scene and look around and go, it looks like someone had, I wonder what kind of, it looks like they used a brush. You know, it's
No.
not like,
They
you
were
know,
the brush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and this also confirms that my question was in fact stupid. So,
No,
no,
you
no.
I asked the same
No.
question a while back, and it was
It is
Equally
an
cool.
honor. It is an honor because there are people, there are clients that can see the difference between a normal painting application and
Yeah.
this, and you can see this because you're an artist too, and it's so for me something so good. I'm so happy to see that you see that difference.
well, what I'm going to do right now while we're talking, if you guys are okay, I'm going to see if I can get the map pulled up so people
Yeah.
can get a closer look
people
at it
can
here.
just look at it.
Hold on one second here.
And if that's not a high enough resolution version, Roxana did send me. She sent me a couple different resolutions for the color and the
Yeah.
sepia version of that, which I still got to find a way to like replicate the sepia tone as like a companion to the color one. But there's no beating the texture. Also, like the blood, that is such a cool trick to actually, think about what blood or what paint looks like when you're trying to replicate blood splatter,
Yeah.
what it looks like coming from a brush versus, actually using your arm or your appendage. How often do you encounter situations like that where you have to do something kind of unorthodox or out of the ordinary? And how did you come up with, did you just like think about it on your own, or did you know of somebody else or another painter who did that? Like, how did you come up with that idea? That's killer.
Oh no, it's something that borns naturally,
Yeah, it's awesome.
because I have the history of your book in my mind every time that I'm doing strokes. So I want to be as a knight of your story, and
Yeah.
how can I interact with the map?
That's one of the really cool things. Roxana had this idea when we were first getting started that lent itself to stuff like the blood and the burnt edges. She really wanted to make this map look like it came from the Heavenly Realms universe. Like it is one of those meta creations that is like, it looks like it really did. Like if you were to get a replica lightsaber, or an X-wing or something, and it would have all the scorch marks and all the worn paint, and, all the like little nicks and chips. And that was one of my favorite approaches to doing this, because it lent itself to all of these cool things. There's nothing that breaks the fourth wall with this map, from the material that it was made on, so it looks like medieval vellum, to the burn marks around the edges, to the blood, and in the compass lines, the cartography lines that are on it. Everything about this is so much fun, and it's worth every penny. I probably actually should still pay you more, Roxana, but maybe cookies. I think we settled on cookies, right?
Yes, I asked for cookies.
That's right.
And tacos payment.
Oh, that's right. Cookies and tacos.
Remember?
Yeah, I might have to come to Mexico City and buy tacos for you guys.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure your tacos are probably better than like the Taco Bell that we have here.
Oh, probably.
Sorry, but yes.
No, there's no argument. I hope that's a better view for everybody.
Yeah,
so you get it. So I think Jonathan should just real quick give us just an overview of what's being represented here.
Yeah, so this is what I call the lower realm of heaven within the Empyrean, or within Heavenly Realms series. Empyrean Falling is the first book of the series, and it takes place entirely in what is considered the lower realm of heaven. It is still one of the heavens, one of the heavenlies as described in the Bible, except it is a physical corporeal plane, much like Middle Earth or Narnia or our planet, our Earth. There are a bunch of different locations on here that are all relevant to either the first or the fourth or a couple of the other books in the series, but mainly the first one, mainly Empyrean Falling. And in the middle, you have the Valley of 1,000 Peaks with the mountain range around it. And that's sort of like the spine of the world, kind of. It really has like a Wheel of Time vibe to it.
Okay.
And then within there, you have Amen Shakush, which is Melfax's fortress temple. Melfax is a good angel. He's one of my favorite angels. He's kind of a mentor to Michael. And then you go up north and you see there's that statue that's called the Citadel of Glalendorf, and that is an early structure that is several hundred feet tall that the angels erected, and it kind of becomes important towards the end of the second act of in Empyrean Falling. And then over as you move east, you get into what is called the Eastern Kingdom. And the Eastern Kingdom is where most of the action takes place, because it's really sort of the civilization, the agrarian, medieval sort of ancient civilization that the angelic host has created for themselves. Down in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see or actually, I guess just on the right hand coast, about laterally on the same line as the Thousand Peaks, you'll see the city of Zion.
Mm-hmm.
Zion is the holy city, also known as New Jerusalem, and it is where the Holy Temple is, which is what's represented in what Roxana painted. One of the fun things that we that we decided on Roxana was to pick these locations and sort of blow them up out of proportion to what they actually would be on the, physically on the terrain, so that you could really pick one image and expand it so that it's big, so that everybody kind of knows what it is they're looking at and there's no missing it on the map. That was like one of the fun things that we did, is because if you look at a lot of ancient and medieval maps, they'll have, a fortress will be like one tower and it'll be huge. It is way out of proportion on the map.
Yeah, sure.
But that's so everybody can find it and
Right,
everybody knows exactly where it is. And then up along the coast on the eastern side, you have these various landmarks. Down at the bottom, there's this thing called Belphegor's Rubble, which is important to the story once you get into the war. And then once you move up north, there's the stone city of Lordanar, which is its primary thing is this is ziggurat, this stone almost pyramid-like structure, and it's the second biggest city in the Eastern Kingdom, second only to Zion. Even though it looks larger on the map, it actually is smaller comparatively, but the design that Roxana did was so cool, we decided to make it larger. And then there are a bunch of little towns and hamlets and little coastal hamlets up along the northeastern coast that are really important to one of the later books. And then off the coast there's Lucifer's Island, and then the water is actually one of my favorite parts. Roxana, you did some amazing things with the ocean on here. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I used some medieval siren maps that I used for inspiration to the waves of the sea, because it was important to me to reflect the movement, but having respect of the traditional way to paint in medieval time, that kind of symbols like the ships.
Yeah, the ship design is amazing. I think Roxanne, I think you came up with like 3 different ships.
It's like 3 different ships on here.
Yeah, there's there's the USS Constitution down here, so just because it's cool. And then there's I think a Spanish galleon right here, I believe, if I remember correctly, along the middle, right outside of Zion. And then up on the northern coast, up on the northern coast, and you did this one in gold, which was genius. We did a Greek trireme.
Yeah.
And the Greek trireme, actually, like, everything sort of has a reason for being where it is.
Yeah.
And the Greek trireme was Lucifer's personal vessel, the Emerald Scepter.
Oh, that's a great name.
Isn't that cool?
That's a great name.
And he would use it to go back and forth from Lucifer's Island to the mainland.
Okay.
From his own personal habitat over to the mainland. And then we have the Leviathan up there.
Like the sea dragon looking creature.
Yeah.
That is Leviathan, yeah.
And the Leviathans roam in the channel between Lucifer's Island and the mainland, and they're kind of treacherous creatures. They're Loch Ness Monster, screaming eel type.
Yeah.
Oh, the screaming eel, yeah.
Yeah.
In this monster, I wanted to add more detail, but it's something tricky when you have to shrink the real map, because if you add more detail, that monster would look like a point, or so it's not making sense. But I would like to add a lot of details, or someday do another map when I can have just honest portions of this map, but with better detail.
We had talked about doing that. That is something that I would like to pursue, maybe before the end of the year. This is so exciting. Like, Roxanne and I getting together and taking like Zion,
Mhm.
the city of Zion, which has like 3 or 4 major locations in it that are all very distinctive. So there's Gabriel's fortress, which is the Seraphim Bastion, and it looks really weird. It's like, I think I sent a picture to you, Roxanne, of it's like 3 angels with their wings out standing back to back,
Okay.
and it's
Yeah.
like, it's a tower. It's
Mhm.
like, 800 meters tall. And then there's the Holy Temple, which looks sort of like a Dome of the Rock kind of, just structure. And then there's the Cherubim Citadel, which is like Michael's fortress for his angels, and it's very militaristic, brutish architecture, and design. But you don't really there's not enough room, even on like this map. Like there wouldn't have been enough room to, and Roxana, we played around with those ideas of like what to include, but you really have to only pick, even on a size like this, one distinctive image
Yes.
for each of these locations. That's
Yeah.
like a hallmark image.
Yeah.
But it would be so much fun to go back and like take Zion and take Lordanar, and take the ruins of the Western Empire, and like really expand out and like really show all the cool intricacies. The Western Empire especially. Like the whole deal with the backstory of Empyrean falling is, before the angels settled the Eastern Kingdom, they first settled the Western Empire, and the Western Empire was this sort of techno-mage kind of realm, very Atlantean in nature. Advanced technology incorporating like the glyphs that you get a glimpse of in Empyrean Falling, but they're not really supposed to use. And there's a reason why, is because like they got too technologically advanced, they became too industrial, they became too out of sync with nature. They started kind of raping the land, in order to fuel their techno magic, and it, in true Atlantean fashion, it crumbled in on it. It created this cataclysm, and so that's why you have things like the Barrow Way and Sunbelt Gorge, but then you have the ruins with Silnor in there over on the left, and it's sort of like a
Silnor is that it looks like that compass that's north of the actual bottom left of the the map. You have the compass, and you go straight up, and you see what looks like another compass. It's gray, but you're saying that's like an actual structure.
that is the foundational ruins.
Oh wow!
I tried to find some the symbols that aliens do in a camps.
Oh, crop circles.
Crop circles, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
crop circles. Something similar. Because
Yeah.
there are ones that looks like ruins, runas in Spanish. So I wanted to do something technological, but using the symbols that aliens do in the camps.
Yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that smart?
Yeah, that's really smart.
I'm telling you, this
Only
is
an artist, man.
I
Look at
know.
that.
This is what makes you so much fun, Roxana, is that like, as a writer, and I've done this before several times, whether it's maps or whether it's, book covers, or whatever, you feel like the other person is just, they're kind of brain dead. Like they don't care. They're just there to facilitate a job. I'm not a painter. I'm not an artist. I have all the ideas, but I need you to just put it on paper. And a lot of artists will do that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being mercenary. But what makes Roxana stand out, what makes you so cool, Rox, is that like you do this because it's your passion, and you do something because you're interested in the material, and that enthusiasm just like comes bubbling out.
Yeah.
And like all the cool ideas, like ideas that you as a writer would have never thought of. Never in a million years did it occur to me that like crop circles would be a good inspiration for the aerial view of the ruins of the Western Empire.
Yeah.
But it makes
As I told you the last time, I will be that Jonathan be my publicist.
gladly. And you can just pay me in cookies and tacos. How about that?
There you go.
Just buy each other cookies and tacos all
Fantastic.
day. Yeah, it's such a great idea, and it fits it so perfectly and it blends in well with the, and it doesn't it fits the themes and motifs of the written word, like we had talked about, if we ever went back and did a larger version of the Western Empire, just incorporating all of these glyphs and all of these like weird tetragrammatron. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But just these archaic symbols, all of these like little intricate, maybe Aztec archaic symbols in there, and just making it look like think of Coruscant from Star Wars.
Yeah.
But mixed with like the high magic tech of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Except it's all been laid waste and reduced to rubble. But there's
Very
still
cool.
like this green energy tint that comes off.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
that's what I like to work with writers, because
Yeah.
you both has a lot of reference in your mind.
Yeah.
And me as an artist sometimes just do the same for clients, and when I work with another artist, it's like I open my mind to new things,
Yes.
and that's what I love to work with you.
It's awesome. It's so much, and in a way, like here's the catch-22, Rocks. In a way, I wish that like I had done this before I had finished writing Empyrean Falling.
Yeah.
Because like
It would have inspired new ideas.
It would have inspired new ideas, just like our narrator, Adam,
Yep.
and how good he is with accents.
Mhm.
He brings like collaboration really most of the time is the key to success, and it's hard with novels because novels are such a solitary experience. Writing is something you kind of do by yourself.
Yeah.
But you get somebody like Rocks, or you get somebody like Adam who brings their own ideas to the table, and their ideas that you had never thought of,
Sure.
and it's like it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Like this, I have to be careful, or I'm going to go back and rewrite Empyrean Falling. That's based off of that.
So, how many do you work with? A lot of authors, Roxana?
Well, these years I have been working with 5 different
Oh, wow.
authors.
Okay.
Cool.
But with this kind of themes, fantasy and mythical, I think just Jonathan.
Okay. So most of your stuff is with the other authors. Is it more science fiction?
Well, 2 of my clients were science fiction. One was something psychological.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
It's like a self-biography of her moment, more a traumatic time in her life.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
I think fantasy is one of the most difficult things, because you don't have a real reference for the forms or the things. You have to think and create and merge different creatures, and that's so difficult.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually make your camera bigger so we can see closer. Tell us a little bit about some of the artwork behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I use all these prints to one of my events. I was sharing with an artist from Marvel and DC, and I was so happy to be with them presenting my art. And I do something with ink using Alien, Spawn, some character from Star Wars like Darth Vader,
Mhm.
Wolverine, because they were part of my beginnings as an artist when I was young.
Mhm.
So I wanted to bring back my inspirations in that event.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is very cool. That is very.
Thank you.
Where can people go to see? Do you have a gallery online that people could go and view some of your work?
I use my Instagram and Facebook, I have all these with more detail, and you can see in my social networks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fantastic, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
thank you.
Which of all of those, whether it's the xenomorph from Aliens or Darth Vader, Spawn, or Wolverine, or any of the intellectual property characters, whether Marvel, DC movies, which are your favorites? Which do you like painting them?
I think Alien,
Really?
because it's so detailed, and for me it's a challenging, because
Yeah.
I have been painting a lot of aliens, so I can paint using just my mind without
Wow.
reference. But
That's awesome.
it's an exercise to me, because it has a lot of details, the way that work, the volume of the every part of the being. It's so hard. I use alien to teach my students about volume, scales, something to the way to ink correctly the characters.
Yeah.
I think
What?
Alien has everything.
Yeah. All of the lessons in one work.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
H.R. Giger had such a distinctive look to all of his artwork. It very much had that, very risque, like biomechanical kind of.
Is he the one that designed the alien from the
Yeah,
movie?
the Xenomorph.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
H.R. Giger. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right. It's Giger. I think it's H.R. Giger.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Giger,
Yes.
Geiger. And and he's also kind of tangentially, sort of a couple stages removed. He's also a little responsible for a lot of the designs in the old Dune movie. So, like, if you notice, one of the things about, like, in the old Dune, which is like the coolest Dune.
You love Dune. Yeah,
I
I
know.
know you love Dune. It's great. It's a great movie. The original's fantastic.
It's going to be hard for there to be a live stream where I don't mention Dune.
Yes, I noticed. That's okay.
Yeah, Nick's just
It's okay.
Nick's just jealous of Kyle MacLachlan's hair.
I am. And Battle Pug.
And Battle Pug, yeah. But like, there's still suits that they wore.
Yeah.
The black suits, the
They were
hydration suits.
They were cool.
You can kind of tell when you look at those still suits, there is kind of a similarity between those and the Xenomorph's body from Alien.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is such a distinctive style. If you see any H.R. Giger inspired artwork anywhere, you know exactly what it is the second you see it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love his characters, because I love the alien and all those paranormal things.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
We should talk about those things.
Yeah. What is it about the paranormal aspect of Aliens that you like, Roxana?
To think that the world could be different from the one that we know.
Yeah.
That there are no boundaries in this universe.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the political people put us I don't know how to say in English, but blind in the eyes, blinders in the eyes, and that life turns boring.
Yeah.
Or we lost hope.
Yeah.
But when we think in different beings and different universe, we can dream about the possibilities of a new world, of a new thing, of a new way to do the things. But it's scary too, because maybe they are powerful. I think they are powerful, so they can smash us when they want.
Maybe.
Maybe they like us, maybe they don't.
Yes.
Maybe they're Vulcans here to, congratulate us on finding warp technology, or maybe they're, the engineers from Prometheus ready to, drop the black goo on us.
It's scary to realize that we as a humans could be in the bottom of the triangle.
Yeah.
And be just food of the other beings in the universe. That is scary. But when
That
we
scared me as a child. There was that
Yes.
television series called V,
Oh
and it was a reptilian alien race coming down to wearing our skin, basically, and intermingling with us and secretly stealing us away for their food supply. That was horrifying. And I was like
yes,
8, maybe 8, 9.
and
something
they
like
were
that.
lizard people,
They were
right?
lizards. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were lizards, reptilians.
Yeah.
Ugh,
From where are they supposed to be?
like the queen.
Are they supposed to? That's right, like Queen Elizabeth.
I am agreeing with you.
I know it's so tough because
May she rest in peace.
Yeah, may she rest in Antarctica with the rest of the. You know.
The rest of the
May she slither back through that hole in the earth to.
YouTube are going to strike you again.
Maybe.
I know. We already got in trouble once. You know, we'll get in
Misinformation for saying Queen
Yeah,
Elizabeth
but
was a
you
lizard.
know, there are a lot of Asian cultures that talk about people that shift to animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here in Mexico, the people know them as a Nahual. They are people that can change their his bodies to an maybe a lion and a cat, different things. And if you study the history of Egypt, you can see they have in their walls histories of people changing his bodies to.
Yep.
Yeah, and even the ancient Egyptian gods, you know, that look like human animal hybrids. You
Yeah.
know, we always kind of equate that, you know, psychologists and anthropologists have sort of equated those to being some sort of symbolism in nature. But what if they weren't? What if
I mean, almost every continent has, you know, indigenous tribes with shaman
and pyramids
with either that ability or an oral tradition of people who could freely do that. And if you talk to those people, it's a reality to them.
It's not a metaphor.
Yeah. No, it's real to them.
Yeah.
You know, it's real. And some even claim to have encountered these. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch is also a good
here in
example
the
of
U.S.
that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what tribes, but that could be a real thing.
Yeah.
That could be a real thing.
Yeah.
Which is horrible because in America we think about, you know, the idea of werewolves. And it's super scary, but it's so fantastical. We set it over here in the realm of fantasy horror.
Yeah.
And it can't be real. It's just for entertainment.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Werewolves aren't real.
Yeah.
Well, what if they are?
What if they are?
What if they are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
I always think about that because the actual religion hide a lot of information.
We were just talking about that in our last live stream with Derek Gilbert and Gary Wayne. And they're like us. They're Christians. They read the Bible, you know. But we talk about that a lot. How the organizations that control seminary schools and teaching of pastors who will then go on to start churches. There are a couple of things in the Bible that they don't teach, that they shy away from.
They won't address
it. And one of those things it's the Genesis 6 thing. It kind of has to do with the possibility of human animal hybrids and some sort of experimentation that is not good in nature, you know, and it's not natural at all. And they just don't like, you know.
An example of that is David.
Yeah.
In scripture, in the Bible, David went and fought against the lion men of Moab that had faces like lions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the literal translation.
Yeah. Faces like, and how do you, and like from a normal, you know, just everyday world, oh, that doesn't exist. That's not real. How do you explain that? You know, like go ahead and like rationalize that one, you know. Yeah.
I think it's a narcissist posture that we took as a people, that our thoughts are the truth.
Right.
But why you can listen the other cultures and other histories and of people in the other part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Why are true is the real, and why the true is not?
Truth has a way of bubbling up through, at least historical truth has a way of bubbling up through all the different cultures. Like every culture has a flood myth. Every culture has, like you guys are talking about, human, animal myth. Every culture has some sort of god, demigod, pantheon, especially one that comes down from the stars, and or maybe they are the stars, and are they from space, or like Nick and I always talk about this, or maybe they are pretending to be from other worlds, but they really are
Have been here all
along, and maybe
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
demonic in nature,
Yeah.
or satanic in nature, and and they're just trying to trick people, and but every culture has like these through lines, just like every civilization or every continent has some form of a pyramid on it. And again, anthropologists say like, oh well, that's just the natural progression of the human mind. But not every civilization developed the wheel. So you're going to tell me that not every civilization developed the wheel, but every civilization, like every group of people on every continent, developed a pyramid?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Explain that.
yeah, explain that one.
And
Or-
and every
Or
and
even
every
the shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Why every culture has histories about them?
Yeah. Roxanne, if you could be
And giants.
And giants, yeah.
and blood sacrifice.
And blood, yeah.
Why is that? Why
Yeah.
does every ancient culture
Mm-hmm.
has the tradition of blood sacrifice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Molech.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of all.
Straight out of the Bible, baby.
Yeah.
Even here in Mexico, there is
Yeah.
a tradition of the gods that ask for blood.
Really?
In Egypt is the same.
Yeah.
They are so far one from another. So why they do the same? It's interesting to analyze that.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Speaking of which, if you could be a shapeshifter, Roxana, and I'm not saying you're not, would you?
Bro, are you a shapeshifter?
Nick Goss asking
The hard-hitting question.
the hard-hitting
Here we
question.
Well, I have a history a little odd or mad. When I was a little girl, I was dreaming crossing a door in my home. I was dreaming, but my brother saw me crossing the door,
Wow.
and I don't know what happened in this time. Some people said that the phenomenon is an astral.
Projection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That happened to me and opened my mind about more things related with that. So I don't know. Maybe we are all shapeshifters.
It may be.
Maybe.
Yeah. I can guarantee you that I am either an armadillo or like a possum.
What do you shapeshift
Maybe a
into?
skunk.
If you did shapeshift into a different creature, what would it be?
Yeah, Roxana, cats
A
or dogs?
cat.
I knew it.
A cat?
You
A black cat.
it's funny every time I see because I don't know too many sorceresses. It's really just Roxana. So I'm convinced you're a sorceress, Roxana, because no one else gets in my brain like you. Anytime I see a black cat, from now on, and we have a few in the neighborhood, anytime I see a black cat, I'll be like, "What's up, Rox? How's it going?"
Yeah, there's one that's
You find those
lurks around
tacos?
here. It lives in the sewer. It comes out of the storm drains.
Oh yeah.
Eats, chases the birds and then goes back into the storm drains. We
Mhm.
see it every couple weeks.
Well, black cats were the partners of the witch and the
Oh, yeah.
Egypt people too,
Yeah.
because they see them as an I don't know how to say as a channel of energy.
Mm.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
So maybe I would like to be a cat.
You could guard the humans against, the gateways of the supernatural, all the you could see all the ghosts and demons, cuz like cats are weird. They'll just be like sitting there staring at a wall,
Yes,
for like 2 or 3
yes.
minutes, and you're like, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah,
You know?
that always creeps me out.
Mhm.
I just can't.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, Roxana would do it in our Zoom calls too, and that's just kind of what I figured you were.
What
Oh
are
my
your
god.
Zoom calls like anyway? What is
They're
that whole process?
Yeah. Yeah. What are the Zoom calls like, Roxana? Because that is a big part of your business model. That is how you communicate with so many of your clients and how you get ideas. Tell the audience a little bit about what the process is like with the Zoom calls.
Well, depends of my clients because there are ones that are so strict and just we sit and talk about the art. But with Jonathan, we talk about our lives, how he's going, and how I'm going, because it's important to see his feelings in the moment, because I can see that frustration if he's happy or not, and it's important to improve the communication throughout all the meeting.
Yeah.
How can I help them to open and give me the most clues of the art?
Yeah.
So we talk about everything. We start talking about our lives, and then we do a list of the different topics that we are going to talk. For example, here I do a collect of every reference that he has in his mind. I collect the sketches. So I with with that information I collect and create a sketch. I present in the second meeting or third meeting the sketch, so we can discuss about all the adjustments that we need to do for making the map better in this case. And maybe in the last meeting I present the color version of the map, so they can see if I need to add things or erase things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um.
I have a lot of ideas in my mind, but as you know, English is not my language, so sometimes it's very hard to me to give you all the information that I have.
Sure.
Though I've never. You're very humble, Roxana. I'll be honest, but there's never once been a time when we did not. Like there may be like 5 times total out of like the 20 Zoom calls that we've done, or 10 that we've done so far, where maybe the English word escaped you, but like there's never been a time when there's been a language issue. Not once. I mean, you can tell, like Roxana, you probably are rocking like a 135, 140 IQ.
Probably.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
Thank
your
Okay.
English is more than sufficient. It's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
thank you, thank
Um,
you.
let's see so if you could go anywhere in the world, you're from Costa Rica, you live in
Yes.
Mexico City with your husband, and Mexico City has amazing museums. If you could go anywhere in the world for inspiration for your art, where would you like to go?
Well, I love Mexico a lot. I think Mexico it's a mixture of magic, tradition, power, aliens. Because here people from Mexico has a lot of story about aliens.
Yeah.
But I think for the ancient history, Japan.
Really?
Yes, I love the vision they have about the magical things, the dragon, the honor of the samurai. I
Yeah.
think the samurai are so strong.
Yeah.
I would like to be an samurai.
I can see it. Yeah. Well, that armor
Same.
is so distinctive. Like there's
Yes.
there's not a lot that looks cooler than samurai armor.
I think that is the reason why I love the Darth Vader
Yep.
design, because
Mhm.
it's inspired in a samurai from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Japanese artwork is so distinctive. It has a name, and it escapes me.
Yes.
I do not know the name of it.
I can't think
but
of it.
It's not Kenji. I think that might be the writing.
It's the writing, yeah.
Yeah, it's the writing. But it's beautiful. It's elegant, but it's bold. It's simple. There's like obviously a lot of meaning and energy that has been poured into that artwork, whether it's the wood
Yes,
carving.
and even the animation, it's faster when they do the battles.
Yeah.
There's something captivating when they're fighting. It's bloody,
Yeah.
but it's dynamic.
Yeah, it is, and it's very energetic. I think I can't remember if we talked about this before. Did we ever talk about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Okay, I can't remember if we
Yeah.
did this in an interview or if we did this in one of our Zoom calls. But like, I'm not a huge anime fan, but Roxanne and I have gone on at length about how cool Full
I think
Metal
you guys
Alchemist.
mentioned that last time. Yeah.
Dude, the music is
Yes.
great. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
like the production value is amazing. The characters are cool. Like, and it's funny at times. Like, it's awesome, and
Cool.
Yeah.
it's also
Yeah.
horrifying at times.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like when they resurrect their dead mom,
Yeah, but it's interesting because they talk about that kind of balance in the world. If you want something, you need to sacrifice another thing.
Yeah, if you want something
It's-
here, you have to take something here.
Yes, it's something like the gods with the humans, and you
Yeah.
you need to give me something.
Mm-hmm. I think in Full Metal Alchemist, I think they call it and it's probably an alchemical rule, the law of equivalent exchange is what they call
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that, but I have no words.
My English wins. Yes.
I'm
No, just kidding.
yeah, it seems like all of the gods that's another very consistent trait. All of the gods require something
Yeah.
in order for you to get their favor.
Yeah.
Except for one.
Yeah.
That's why
That's why we read the Bible.
like Yahweh is my God.
That's right. That's why we're on Team
because
Jesus.
the thing that he required, he actually provided, and that was Jesus.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sacrifice.
That is an interesting thing about the difference between Christianity and so many other religions is like, and it kind of depends on which, there are so many versions of Christianity that you can dig into, but at their core, that's what it's supposed to be, is that is the one religion when it's accurately represented. That's the one religion that God, recognizes the law of equivalent exchange that's necessary.
Mhm.
The death that you're born into, and has already provided the sort of the escape hatch for it. With the sacrifice.
The blood's already been spilled.
The blood's already been spilled, and
Yep.
blood is still required. I mean, that's
It's still required, but it was
Yeah.
already spilled. It's crazy.
Roxanne, if you could do any artwork for any fantasy or science fiction series, any, whether it's a TV show, comic book, movie franchise, what would be like your dream job?
Good question.
Well, I think the new series, Sandman. It's a comic.
With Neil
But-
Gaiman.
Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
I knew. I started to read about Sandman, and it's amazing because they show the different part of the human, like the desire, like the death.
Mhm.
It's so inspirational to do art from that art, the Sandman comic.
Yeah, and it's been around for, I want to say, 20 or 30 years, at least. Right? That was a graphic novel that was written back in was it the 90s or early 2000s?
Yes, but Netflix do a new series of Sandman. It's a new version, and
Interesting.
I really love to that kind of new characters. And they changed death. In the book is a woman, and now it's a man, but the adaptation, it's so good.
Really? So
Yes.
it's good, even though they changed the gender
Yes,
of.
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They should have just cast you to do it. Yeah.
I would like to be that character because maybe we as Latins see the death tragical,
hmm
but here in Mexico is different. They celebrate the death,
Yeah. Why is that?
and I don't know. They maybe for them it's just part of life,
Mm-hmm.
and for people from my country, it's so tragical. It's like
Yeah.
that's it. You don't have anything more. And
Yeah.
here in Mexico, it's color, it's walk with the love of your people. It's like the life continues
Yeah.
with color, with magic, everything. They have a different thing about death, and the way they present death in Sandman, it's very similar to the vision of Mexican people.
Ah.
She
Okay.
helps you to do that transition
Yeah. Yeah.
in a best way, not a tragical way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of exists in American Christian culture, in the aspect of, angels. Like when, the people talk about having near-death experiences, and the angels escort them up. I have an Aunt Jane, who had a heart attack several years ago, and she talked about that, how like she felt like she was being, escorted up towards the light, and it was a cathartic, it was a good experience, not a bad sort of
Yeah.
thing.
For her,
Yeah.
for some, I'm sure it's horrifying.
Yeah, depending on where you're going, it
Yeah.
might not be so great, but
Yeah.
you know.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in angels, Roxana?
Well, I think there are more beings in this universe.
Yeah.
And science is starting to prove that there are different levels of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Some we can see, and another we cannot see.
Yeah.
So I think there are beings with more power in those in those another levels of consciousness or energy. So
Yeah.
maybe I think they are real, not in the way that maybe Bible or another books show them, but they are another beings. I think they are real.
Yeah. There's something there, you know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. There's so
Because
many weird things that happen.
statistical, I don't think we are alone in this world.
Yeah.
And it's so narcissistic to believe that the only beings that exist are the beings that we see.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
as we speak, there are dogs, there are cats that see things weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know that there are cats that see deaf people.
Yeah.
So it's narcissistic to believe that we are the best that exists in this world. Maybe an animal it's better than us, seeing that kind of energy.
Have you been to my house and been speaking to my dog Lily, because she clearly eats better than I do? So yeah, I think you're automatically on that level, you know. Well, that's something that the Bible talks about. With the angels don't show up a lot in the Bible. It's a huge part of pop culture, especially in America. But if you really try to curate all the verses in the Bible that specifically have angels in them, it's not a lot. And when they do show up, they are either incognito as humans, or they're very powerful, or they are in some sort of a chimerical state, of being,
Yeah.
you know, some sort of animal hybrid, or, you know, the seraphim, or the thrones and the powers, and there are all these different versions of them, but they're always presented as something that exists in its natural state beyond the realm of what you see.
Yeah.
You know, the heavenly
Yes.
realms.
Yes.
And so there is something else. You know, there's more to it, because, you know, people talk about, and I'm sure there's probably a science paper on it somewhere that talks about electromagnetic frequencies, and but you know, when you're sitting next to a dead body, you know, like if you go to if you go to a hospital, and you know, you see someone who was alive, and then you come in the morning and they're not alive, like you can kind of tell, you know, but it's not something that you can really see. I mean, unless like jaundice is set in or something like that,
but it's, you can sense it.
you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yes.
yeah,
And animals are better than us feeling that energy.
yeah, they could detect that.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to be a cat, a shapeshifter, because I have to admit that I am scared about aliens and maybe angels or demons, but there are a part of me that want to know
Yeah.
the other
sure.
part of the that kind of levels of energy.
Yeah.
I'm
How
so
excited-
curious about.
How excited
Sorry.
were you? Oh no, I'm sorry. How excited were you a few years ago when like all the disclosure thing was starting to happen? You know, about like the U.S. government releasing like information about aliens. They got real close there. They released like some videos of like some Navy fighter pilots, you know, and they got really close and they started talking about it. And then all of a sudden they like.
Were you more excited or were you more fearful when you saw those?
Both.
Yeah.
But I think both. But I think more exciting because it's really hard that the government accept that there are aliens and demons and everything, because that will change politics.
Yeah.
And people do not want that. It's
No.
so hard to change religions, the things we think exist. There are a lot of people that maybe has a panic attack,
Mm-hmm.
so the government has to be careful opening all the information. But I
Mhm.
think everybody knows that there are other beings in this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's
it's
true.
so hard. It's so hard for the governments to talk because people will get mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it'll shake a lot of people's faith, and it'll create a lot of chaos. And
Yeah.
like that's why in the show The X-Files there was always the cigarette smoking man who was like the main villain of the show. Did you ever watch The X-Files, Rox?
Yes.
Yeah, you remember the bad guy, the cigarette smoking man who worked at the FBI, and he was like above Scully's boss, you know, and every time he saw him he was always he didn't really have an official name. He just was like he was the boss of the boss, and he was always smoking cigarettes, but he was the one who like kept all of those secrets about like the downed alien spacecraft. And you know, and because he knew, just like what you're talking about, Rox, he knew that like if that information got out, it would be widespread panic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Be mass hysteria.
What do you think, Nick, about that topic?
Well, I think
As a religious person.
Yeah. It's not surprising. I think that whatever these things are, I think they've been here. They've always been here. I don't think that they're a higher order. As a religious person, I believe what the Bible says, you know, that we bear the image of God. And nothing can exist in the universe that God didn't create.
Yeah.
But humans are unique in that we bear the image of God. We represent him in creation. I don't think there's a higher order of being, but I do think that these things are real. Are they from somewhere else in the universe, or are they here existing already, veiled in a different dimension? I don't know. but I don't believe that they're good. I don't believe that from all of the accounts of encounters and abductions and sightings and messages received, um, whether it be paranormal messaging or psychological messaging, people who claim to receive messages from these beings, not one of them validates what the Bible says about our origins. And that concerns me. It tells me that they are not aligned with the truth of God's word. They're not aligned with what God is trying to do in the world through us.
Yeah.
I think they are opponents. Personally, I believe they're opponents of God and those and His people. I really do. I think they're here to deceive us. And really, I believe that when they do make themselves, when there's full disclosure and every government has admitted these things and everyone's starting to see them and we all know that they're here, I think it's going to cause a lot of people who believe in God, a lot of Christians, they're going to lose their faith. And that, for me, I think that's really horrible and sad, but I think it's going to really shake their faith because they don't really know what the scriptures say. And I think there's going to be a big falling away, unfortunately. And that's probably what they want. That could be their motive. I don't know. But that's what I believe.
That's why a lot of people said that maybe aliens could be, or some spirits could be demons.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do. Yeah. You know,
because they have some tricky messages, some contrary messages.
And I'll say this too. When you hear about the people who get visited by aliens or abducted, it's always the same thing. It's always in the middle of the night. They're paralyzed. They can't move. They're taken against their will. Sometimes even children are taken against their will. Children who have these accounts, they don't have a choice as to whether or not they want to go up onto the UFO. They don't have a choice. Yes. And that is very demonic. Middle of the night, taken against your will. You're paralyzed.
The witching hour.
And it's very consistent in all of these accounts.
Yeah.
God does not force His will on. He does not force people to accept Him. He doesn't take people against their will. The Holy Spirit does not force people.
Yeah.
They have to choose. That's why God is love, because He loves us more than we could possibly imagine ever. But He doesn't force us to love Him back, because true love is choosing to love. That's why we have free will. That's why we're image bearers.
And even some phenomenon like I write here for that question. The scratches in the skin that people get when they see something like demonic that wants to sound like an angel. The scratches in the skin. Some scientists said that people that said that was abducted ends with a ferrous sulfur smell in the skin.
Oh wow!
Really?
Sulfurous smell.
Yes. For that, the ancient people said that wasn't the hell was a burning place.
Yeah.
Because the sulfur smell
Yeah.
that people get in their skin, but when they see aliens, says that the sulfur skin happens too. So maybe aliens or demons are the same. I don't know.
Yeah. But there are angels too, who are, fighting for God on our behalf.
Maybe there are angels that try to make us believe that they are God.
Oh yeah,
there's
fallen
some
angels.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, there are good angels and bad angels. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the interesting thing about a lot of those alien abductions is some people talk about how once they start repeating the name of Jesus, that is like the only thing that actually repels the abduction. I don't know. I think it was a dream, but I had a dream about that one.
I did too.
And I was like, it was right after I started writing Empyrean Falling.
Wow.
Yeah. It was weird. Like Dad was praying over me in my bed at night. I was like 17, you know. And I think it was probably a dream. That's what I tell myself sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
But like I started to lift up towards the ceiling, and the ceiling was like it was like a black cloud, an inky black cloud on the ceiling, and I was coming up towards it, and then I started repeating Jesus's name, and it's the only thing that like backed me off of the cloud.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And came back down.
Dude, I had a similar experience last year. I think I told you, but yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was in bed, sleep, middle of the night, and I was dreaming. I'll fully admit that I was dreaming. I felt weightless. I felt myself being lifted off the bed, and there was a vibration, thump, 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 almost like helicopter blades, propellers. But it was thumping my ears. It was a real strong thumping against my eardrums. And in my dream, I knew it was happening.
Yeah.
I knew that these demonic entities, these aliens, were taking me, and I could not move. I was absolutely paralyzed. I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
Couldn't even say Jesus. I was just thinking it. I kept thinking over and over, Jesus, help me. Jesus, save me. Help me. Lord Jesus, please help me. I'm trusting in you. I'm trusting in you. All I could do was think it,
Yeah.
you know, and it didn't work at first.
Really?
Yeah. But I kept getting closer and closer to the ceiling. And then finally they let me go because I kept saying, Jesus, please, Jesus, Jesus, help me, please. And so I lowered back down on the bed, and I woke up, and I realized that the thumping in my ear was actually just the fan spinning. But here's the thing. It was the rhythm of the fan that was doing that it was making me dream that.
Yeah.
But after I woke up, my ears were sore.
Really?
Oh
My
my
eardrums were
God.
still sore.
Maybe
Feel the
they
pressure.
put on the fan to
Maybe.
To
cover what
camouflage.
happened.
But and I fully admit that this was a dream. I'm not saying anything happened. I dreamt this. I dreamt all of
Well,
this.
but listen to my story. I dreamed that I crossed the door,
Yeah.
but my brother, who was awake, see me crossing that door.
Yeah. In real
So
life.
maybe, yes. So maybe that happened, but you don't have a witness to say that that was real or not.
Yeah.
Just the dog.
I got I don't know. You're right. Who knows? Because I was asleep.
I
I was
know.
asleep and dreaming it. Who
Yes.
knows what was actually going on? I don't know, but I do know that at least in my dream, that Jesus kept that from going any farther.
Whatever that
He released
was.
me from it.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom's had the same experience. A lot of people have had that experience, that exact same dream, that exact same experience.
Weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very consistent.
That's so
Very
Some
consistent.
people say that when a member of the family has that kind of experience, all the family throughout generations
Yeah,
has suffered the same.
I've heard that.
You kind of have that in your family too, Rox, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
From my grandmother, every generation has seen something like smoke with a form of an people, like in
Really?
a spirit,
Yeah.
aliens, everything. But
Shut
I don't like to talk about that a lot because
Yeah.
people said that you're weird. That's just an imagination. And
Yeah.
no,
No, it's not.
it's true. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't have the correct way to have to put a name of what happened,
Yep.
but
Mhm.
that happened, and I don't know how to explain that.
Well, I'll say that I appreciate you feeling comfortable enough to talk about that with us.
Yeah.
Because the people who watch these videos, they wonder and ask about those things. They want to talk about and hear about those things.
Yeah.
They're looking for truth. They know that these things are real too. So
Yeah.
this
you're
is
not
a very
alone.
safe. This is a very safe, platform to talk about those things on.
Yeah.
I think people will probably get a lot out of that. And
Yeah.
it'll make it, because there are other people that might be seeing the same or similar,
Yeah.
and they want to know that they're not alone.
Yeah, it provides comfort, and it makes them feel like, oh, I'm not crazy. This other person has experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's important to talk about this topic,
Yeah.
even if you two do on strike. But yes,
We will
But-
strike down the darkness until YouTube strikes down the channel.
Go down fighting, baby.
That's
You
right.
know, that's but you know what's funny? It's
I love it.
we could talk about that stuff all day long, but if you mention anything political,
Yeah, they don't like
that's
that.
they
Yes.
did not like that.
Yes.
You know? Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's what they went after. But you know, the Bible talks about those kinds of generational curses, or you know, even generational blessings happening, you know, across multiple generations, where like, you know, the sins of the father, you know, and whatever may have happened 200 years ago, you know, I'm sure there's a you know, biologist out there or a psychologist who would say like, oh, that's, you know, genetic conditioning that's, you know, linked to your ancestors and blah blah blah. But when you have 2 or 3 generations that all experience the same supernatural phenomenon,
Yeah.
there is some sort of mark that has been placed on your line, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a very common thing.
And you know, statistical people that it's related with art suffer that more.
I believe.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people think that the artist has a better communication with another part of the energy or inspiration on a different view of the world. So you became I don't know how to say, a magnet
Yes.
of that kind of energy. But artists suffer of that kind of experiences a lot. If you read about Van Gogh, if you read about Da Vinci, if you read at the most important musicians, they say that they witness aliens or spirits or demons more than people that is not related with art. It's something weird, but happens.
Yeah, it is. That veil is membranous thin the more artistic you are, because you kind of exist on the fringe of, you know, your creativity exists on like this fringe of reality, you know, where you're sort of piercing that veil and getting into something else. H.P. Lovecraft talked about it all the time, you know. He talked and like he's the guy who created like the Cthulhu mythos, you know, back in the early 1900s. And you know, he talked about how he feels like a madman, but the things that he wrote about were so radically advanced and ahead of their time that nowadays they are kind of like this whole idea of transdimensional ancient beings. He was writing about in the 1920s, you know, and that, as far as pop culture and literature goes, that was a pretty new thing.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people. And then you look at what was his name? Howard, the guy who created Conan the Barbarian, you know, also friends with H.P. Lovecraft. And he created all of these amazing stories about Conan the Barbarian. Thomas E. Howard, I think maybe was his name. I'm sorry, I can't remember. But driven crazy and ended up killing himself.
Jeez.
At like 35. He was super young when he killed himself.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, there is some sort of a link if you come from an artistic family, you know, especially one that has any sort of religious link. Like, there's probably some weird stuff that
like ours.
Yeah, like ours. Like Roxanne,
yeah,
you know?
like Roxanne.
Well, yes, you have to ask all your guests in this podcast.
Yeah.
If they as an artist has a similar situation, and you will see the link.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That actually would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just have it as like built into the battery of questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Be like, all right, so you're an artist, we're artists. We've seen some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Ever seen anything weird?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's great.
Tell me about the weird
Yeah.
stuff. Speaking of weird stuff, we're gonna let you go here in a minute, Rock. So we've taken up a ton of your time. There are a couple of we actually covered most of these questions. We had no joke. We had 24 questions for Roxana.
Yeah.
And or maybe 20. We had 20 questions total, I think, for Roxana. And we covered just about all of them, but 2 that are more career procedural in nature that I did want to ask you. One, are you still writing your book? Because I think you had talked about writing a book a while back. And 2, are you ever going to, and this question's for Eva May, are you ever going to teach online classes again? Because I know we had discussed that as well.
Yeah, I would like to do some classes, but I need to finish first some projects maybe, and I will do some classes at December.
Okay.
And about the book, I need to take my time, because
Yes.
being a writer is something that I respect a lot. It's not easy, and I need to learn a lot. So I'm going to ask you help and some really, really, because it's so hard. And I would like to send my first I don't know how to say this.
Your first,
Maybe
your
Yeah.
first draft. Yeah, your first edition.
Yeah.
to you, so
Yeah.
you can give me information and write and everything.
My, how the tables have turned.
No,
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am
Yes.
still
Yes.
the learner.
write a book is my dream. I always wanted to do it, but to be honest, I think a lot. Well, I have thought a lot of years that I was not capable of,
Oh, yeah.
because I don't have the skills, or maybe my story was not so interesting. So I was scared that anybody wants to read them. But when I has become adult, I think my idea of that has changed, and it's important that we listen everybody's story,
Yeah.
because maybe the thing that I think that just myself is living, it's something that we as humans are dealing with, and maybe we
Yeah.
can help another people with our story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your art is supposed to help make the world better.
And that's the
Yes.
whole reason our
Yes.
slogan is to take up the broken sword and strike down the darkness.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's really hard, because the self-esteem that you need to be a writer,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It is. But you know, it goes both ways. Like, I was pretty arrogant about my capabilities as a novelist from the jump. Oh yeah, from the start. Like, I didn't finish college. I didn't pursue a degree in English, which anybody who reads the Heavenly Realms series will obviously understand. Not exactly bearing the lead there. But I thought, I had my own preconceived notions about like how easy it might be to finish the book, and to write it. And what I thought would maybe be like a 2-year project ended up taking 5 or 6 years just to finish the first draft. And then,
My God.
yeah, and then another 10 to 12 years, no, 10 to maybe 13 or 14 years. From that point on, it took 14 more years to get it published. So it literally was like a 20-year project.
Yeah.
To get the first novel published on Amazon. Now, it changes. It never stops unless you walk away from it. It never. You can always tweak the manuscript forever until it gets published. But if I had a humility as a young adult when I was writing these, and had maybe gone through more of the steps that older, wiser people had told me to go through, then I maybe would have been able to get this published, before both of our parents were dead.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
That's a good word.
and
That's a
in,
good word.
in the way, like, your problem is the opposite of my problem, but we both kind of land in the same, boat as a result.
Yes.
And one thing that'll help, honestly, is just you realize that there are a lot of books out there that are sitting on bookshelves that are crap.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, honestly, like,
True.
you have to really try, Roxana, to like make a real dog turd of a book. So you'll probably be fine, first of all.
Yeah.
And two, Stephen Pressfield, that author that we've interviewed
Yes.
several times. He's our
Yes.
favorite author. He's a friend of ours.
He's the voice you should listen to.
He is the one
Wow.
who gave me the guidance just in his books, not even before we became friends or started talking, just his books, whether it was his fiction or his motivational books like The War of Art or Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be or Do the Work. Any of these books that he has, he's got like 7 of them now. All of those books, through his writing, really helped motivate and keep me on track and keep hammering and doing the work. And you are so industrious. You work so hard. You're so consistent. You do so much stuff. Consistency is key. Nick is like this too. That you have so many things stacked in your favor to write that and to finish that book. And once you get into it, it's sort of like going to the gym or building a fire. It's always the hardest part of building a fire is just the very beginning. With that kindling.
Yes.
It's delicate, it's fragile. But once you get that going, man, and once you get that thing blazing hot, I was helping a friend burn some stuff yesterday, and like, man, once you get that thing going, it's the same thing with writing a book. You are just like deep in the flow state, and you're off to the races. And you'd be so good at it because you come from a prior artistic profession. Like, you coming from the perspective of a painter, I bet your descriptions and world building and the language that you would use to describe and paint that picture would be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you so much for that, because it's really important to me. Sometimes when you are working a lot with social media, you see everything immediately.
Yeah.
People that do 4 books in a year, and you feel press yourself to do the same, but maybe it's a lie. The average creation of a book takes maybe decades.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years on average for an experienced author. And even mine, I'll tell you, from start to finish, and Nick is kind of like this too, but he's actually writing the books, whereas like my books have been written for 10 years, and still when I go back and dust them off, edit, revise, get covers, for them and everything, it still averages out to about 2 a year. So 2 books a year for books that have technically already been written.
Right.
So you as a creative person having to write it from scratch from the beginning, and give birth to this thing and get it out there in the world, it's okay with it taking 10 years. It takes as long as it needs to take. Just be consistent, That's
Thank
really
you.
all
Thank
it
you
takes.
so much.
You're a smart cookie. You'll do it for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, where can people find you?
Well, now I am in Facebook and Instagram, Roxana Bio Arts, like the title of this screen. And now I have TikTok.
Oh,
In TikTok, I am talking about things that I cannot talk in my other Facebook and Instagram. I talk about maybe politics.
Okay.
And even I do tutorials from people that want to learn how to draw and different techniques too. So you can find me there with the same name, Roxana Bio Arts. I am there, and you can write me whatever you want.
Fantastic.
And send her tacos and cookies.
Tacos and cookies. If you don't send me tacos and cookies, please don't talk to me.
That's that Costa Rican vibe I love so much. There it is.
I'm like that every Monday morning.
Yeah.
Don't come to me without tribute.
Lay the tacos and cookies at my feet. Speak
Yeah.
your peace and be gone,
Yeah.
for I am hungry.
Yeah.
Awesome. Roxana, thank you for staying over, first of all. We
Yeah,
kind of
thank
got a
you.
little bit of a late start, but then we kind of took up way more of your as always. But thank you for being
It's always
generous
great.
with your time. We
Yeah.
Always have so much fun talking to you.
Yeah.
You
Thank
are
you
such
so
a-
much for inviting me and for your patience and sharing with me all your visions and the support with the book, because it's important to me someday do it, and you gave me the energy and the motivation. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, absolutely. You are worth it. You are worth every penny. Roxana Bio Arts. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok now, and you can get all of the naughty stream stuff that no one else that she
Yeah,
can't
go to
talk about everywhere
Go,
else on
yeah, go to
TikTok.
TikTok for the
You
good
did a good
stuff.
move, where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
didn't do that on YouTube, so you won't get kicked off. And then if you want to hire Roxana, if you want to commission her for any of your artwork, proof is in the pudding. You can see the artwork behind her with Darth Vader, Wolverine, my favorite superhero, and then the Xenomorph, and then the map that Roxana made for Heavenly Realms. She is worth every penny. She is amazing. She also stays super busy, so you better get on it. If you
Yeah,
want
you
a
better
book
reach out to her.
cover, if you want a map, if you want any sort of art, miniatures, you do miniatures as
Yeah.
well. From miniatures to murals, Roxana Bio Arts. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a
You
good
too.
night.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye. Yeah. Pretty killer.
She's killer, man.
She's always fun. That's the cool thing about Roxana. Like,
Roxana has struck down the darkness today.
I would say so.
Our guest has
Yeah.
struck down the darkness today.
Yeah, we just sat on the sidelines like
It was
Gimli.
great. It's a great
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, she's cool. She's fascinating. And she has a ton of interesting ideas. Like we talked about. She really kind of elevates your work with what she brings to the table, and which every good artist does. Whether it's a musician or whether it's an audio narrator or a painter, cover artist, and she's done covers before. That might be a solid move.
Yeah.
See if I can get her to do a cover.
Yeah,
for
get her to do a
Pandemonium
cover. I
Rising.
was going to ask her if she's done covers before. I think we talked about that on the last interview with her.
And I'm pretty sure I have seen, I say that with moderate authority because I think I saw on her Instagram channel a cover
Cool.
on there. So, yeah.
Yeah,
smart
you got to
cookie.
check out her Instagram. It's amazing.
Yeah, and she goes to conventions as well.
Yep.
She stays moving. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Great conversation today.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
yeah. We
Awesome.
hope you guys enjoyed it half as much as we did.
Yeah.
We had a blast.
Well, real quick shout out to
Mhm.
our patrons, those who support the show: Jay Reese, Shannon, Roseanne, Adam, and Anne. You guys are helping us bring more content and making the show even better. We're going to be doing a live chat tonight. Tonight is
Yes.
our monthly live Discord chat.
Yeah.
We got to do that in about 20,
Yeah, we got
20 minutes.
Yeah.
But we'd love for you guys to join us on the Discord. Become a patron. Go to patreon.com/the Gosslings. It's that easy. $5 a month, exclusive content, exclusive interviews. You get copies of some of our books. You get discount on merch, monthly live Discord chat, and you get to be a part of a community that gets all of this. A real safe environment. So go ahead and sign up. It's $5 a month. Basically, a cup of coffee. Buy me a cup of coffee. Don't make me
And-
go to Starbucks.
Yeah, don't make me go to
Yeah.
Starbucks. And truth be told, we are also working up some potential other sponsors that may only, probably in the beginning at least, will only be available, whether it's through promo codes or actual products.
Yeah, we're working on some stuff.
That will only be available to patrons.
Yep.
So if you want to get signed copies of some of the books that, say, maybe Stephen Pressfield has done,
Yep.
or if you want to get like maybe some cool hair care products that we got, coming up or something, who knows? We got like 2 or 3 things that we're kicking
Mhm.
around.
Yeah. For example, our shirts. You can go to Teespring right now and get one of these shirts.
yes,
They're fantastic. They're super soft, and they have our logo on them. And we would love it if you guys would go out and help, be our evangelists for the Goslings, who go out and spread the word. But if you're a patron, you get a substantial discount on these shirts.
Yeah, and they're super comfortable. The tri-blend is
Gotta go
always
tri-blend.
Yeah, there's no substitute for the tri-blend, and they're like my only undershirts now. Like I'm wearing gray underneath this blue polo. It's the Gary Wayne shirt.
I love it. I love it.
So, anyways, yeah.
Well, I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
I think that's it for this week.
I think so.
We'll be back next week. I believe we have John Bernardo next.
Yeah, John Bernardo, author of Just
have
a Typo.
some laughs.
Yeah, John Bernardo's hilarious. He's he's very heavily inspired by Weird Al Yankovic, and we're all big Weird Al fans.
Oh yeah.
And he wrote a book called Just a Typo. We've had John on 2 times before, and now it is out in audiobook.
Yes.
So by the time you hear this, it should be out in audiobook, Just a Typo by John Bernardo. Can't wait to listen to it.
Yeah, it's going to be
I gotta
fantastic.
get my hands on a copy. Because,
Me too.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thank you. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
We are the Goslings, and take up the broken sword of your father.
And strike down the darkness.
Go forth and strike down the darkness, everyone.
See you guys.
See ya.